Coming up on the Stifel Snow Show, at 1 year out, the countdown to Milan Cortina is well and truly on. The Winter Olympics are coming. And the superstars of snowboard and free ski are on the rides of their lives. Trust us, you want to catch the fever that is the US Women's Moguls team. Good vibes gone viral. Quick, call the spin doctor. We've got a cough. And she's in pole position. Jessie Diggins, the consummate elite athlete, is hitting her stride. And it's about to take her all the way to Italy in 2026. Hello everybody and welcome into this week's edition of the Stifel Snow Show. I'm Cara Banks, bringing you the latest and greatest in skiing and snowboarding from around the globe. World Cup action is heating up and we've got a lot to report on as athletes continue to deliver their best on snow. So let's have a look at where members of the US ski and snowboard team have been competing recently. Molto bene, it's cross country in Konya, Italy. The 5th Alpine World Ski Championships are underway in Solbach, Austria. They're taking it to the bank with para snowboard in Kutai, Austria. Let's cover it up with moguls from Val-Saint-Côme, Quebec in Canada. And they're sharing all the tricks of the trade in free ski and snowboard in Aspen, Colorado, which is where we'll begin. Elite competition returned to Aspen Snowmass as the Toyota US Grand Prix gathered the world's top competitive free ski and snowboard athletes. The event began in 1995 and is the first qualifier for US athletes now heading into the 2026 Olympic Winter Games in Milan Cortina. And one of the biggest names expected to be on that team dominated the women's snowboard halfpipe. Chloe Kim, who took a 2-year break after defending gold at 2022 Beijing, was untouchable again. Producing yet another double cork 1080, Kim, the first woman to land the trick in competition last year, claimed a second consecutive World Cup halfpipe win in Aspen this season. And a yellow bib signifying standing first overall for Chloe's teammate, Maddie Mastro, who was back doing what she does best, another never-before-done trick. The two-time Olympian became the first woman to land a switch alley-oop backside rodeo in the contest, her third NBD of the season. So back-to-back golds in Aspen for Kim, fresh off securing her record 5th World Cup Lux Open title. Mastro took 4th. It was awesome to have Nick Gepper join the Stifel Snow Show last week, fresh off his X Games gold, as we now recap men's ski halfpipe, which saw the 3-time Olympian back in Aspen and part of an emerging rivalry with teammate Alex Ferreira. It is steeped in respect. Gepper returned an impressive round amongst a stacked field. Ferreira then dropped in to throw it down in his hometown, coming off X Games silver last week. The 2-time Olympic medalist made history last year as the first male free skier to put together a perfect season en route to the Crystal Globe. Ferreira, throwing double 1620s, clinched the top spot with his moves and his signature pole twirl. Gepper took second, with Matt Labor earning his first ever World Cup podium, and third, a podium sweep for the Stifel US free ski team in men's halfpipe for the 3rd time this season. Then it was Utah's turn to represent in Aspen with an exciting matchup between 2022 Olympic ski slopestyle champion Alex Hall and 2022 Beijing Olympian Colby Stevenson. Here's how Todd Harris and Tom Wallish called it.
Good to go. There.
Salt Lake City, Utah's Alex Hall really is a man about the world. We've talked about his travels, where he's born, living in Switzerland, Alaska, now Salt Lake City, Olympic gold medalist from Beijing, and this guy is so fun to watch.
Yeah, just an athlete that does it all. He films in the streets, in the backcountry, competes in all the different disciplines. Just a jack of all trades, or an ATP of free skiing. Alex, so good on the rails. There's a 1620 on the jumps. Watch this one. Pretzels it back, so it's switch right side, and then able to hold that one back to switch. And the switch 1440 with the smooth landing. Alex Hall with an amazing first run.
And now it comes down to this. His good friend Colby Stevenson out of Park City, Utah, The last man, the #1 qualifier, he's the only one left that can knock off Alex Hall in the 88.21. Colby, remember, dropped an 82.58, Tom, and remember, that transfer on that one rail could be the difference.
Yeah, it's this third rail feature here that stands out more than anything. So smooth there. Watch this. Rodeo. Up and over to the backside. 270 again. The best rail trick on that pad. There's that double cork with the nose butter. 16.20 on the first jump. Get the grab. Colby Stevenson locks in that switch 14 to the right. Now spinning switch left side. Goes 1,800 with the tail grab. Colby Stevenson. Pressure packed on the final run, puts one down to really challenge his teammate, Alex Hall.
Does he move into a top 3 position? Currently sitting on the outside. It's an 87.15. So it is Alex Hall that takes the win. Colby Stevenson jumps into second place.
So it was 1-2 for the Americans, but next we'll check in with a sport that will be debuting a new Olympic discipline at the Winter Games next year. The women of the Stifel US Moguls team are on a roll in Val-Saint-Côme, Quebec, Canada. We'll take you there next. She's got heart. With 2026 Milan Cortina in sight, we checked in with a Moguls powerhouse to revisit her epic medal run that led to silver in Beijing 2022 and learn how family and passion can equal success. Alta Wyoming's Jalen Koff is our Stifel Spotlight.
Jalen Koff of the United States, the veteran of the team, fastest skier out here so far.
I love the moment at the top of the course where I knew that my friends, my family, my parents, my brother, everyone was watching through that video camera that was right next to me at the top of the course. I might cry.
Whoa, going super fast.
She's attacking.
I was like, oh God, we gotta get this under control. We're making this down, don't blow it.
Jalen Koff coming through 26.3 seconds.
I was so proud once I finished that to just have put down that run and kept it together, and my family going nuts in the bar was so cool.
Her family going nuts. The Jays are flying.
Yeah, that was crazy. It's still hard to believe that was real. I got into the sport because I love skiing. I'm so passionate about it, and that event really brought me back to that. I had so much fun competing in that event, and so after that I was just, continuously reminding myself to do it for me, to do it for those reasons and my love for the sport.
Looking sharp and fast is Jalen Koff.
And that's kind of what has continued to keep me grounded the last couple of years, and especially looking on towards the next Olympics.
Jalen Koff gets ready to drop in, the top female on the U.S. team.
There's a lot that's out of my control, and all I can do is just go out and ski for me and put down my runs and have as much fun as possible.
Yeah, Jalen has a winner's attitude. Well, Val-Saint-Côme under the lights is where the women would battle it out on a course considered one of the most difficult on the circuit. Jalen Koff would bring it, living up to her reputation now as the fastest woman on the World Cup circuit, earning the quickest times of the day. Last week, we showed you how the camaraderie of the US Women's Moguls team was making them stronger. So it was no surprise that teammate Olivia Giacchio carved out a remarkable run for herself, earning exceptional women's air scores. The two reprising their Waterville results with Koff in second and Giacchio in third, Canada's Maya Schwinghammer earning her first career win in front of her hometown crowd. Now, dual moguls, Koff winning the semi, sending Giacchio to the small final and Koff to the big final. Racing aside, Kazakhstan's Anastasia Gorodko, who skied out. Koff pushed through to secure her 10th World Cup win, plus a continued podium streak of 6 in a row overall. Dual moguls will make its Olympic debut next February at Milan Cortina. A look now at the overall World Cup standings for women's moguls. Today's Fast Facts powered by iFit, showcasing the dominance of the Stifel US Women's Moguls team with 3 of the top 8 spots featuring US athletes. Koff in second. Next up for the team, Deer Valley, the Super Bowl of freestyle skiing. not to be missed. Well, our studio's alive with the sounds of Steve Perino. Add professional yodeler to this man's resume. Pino brings us the inside scoop from alpine skiing if he stops yodeling when we come back. Well, I'm delighted to now be joined by the former US ski team downhill racer turned writer turned our very own broadcaster, Steve Perino. Pino, thanks for coming in studio this week. I know it's a busy time, obviously, with the World Champs going on. Lindsey Vonn is out there. You and I were together in Beaver Creek when she foreran as part of this big comeback that was beginning. What were your impressions then compared to what you see now, kind of over a month or so in?
I mean, I think I was like a lot of folks wondering, 40 years old, partial knee replacement. I'm not so old that I've forgotten what it's like to feel 40. I would never have considered coming back. So I had big doubts until we saw her in Beaver Creek. And then we got a glimpse as to what she's capable of. And we got more of a glimpse more recently. This is Lindsey Vonn. Still good technical skiing, but you're going to watch her make a mistake here, which is typical of someone that maybe isn't ready for speed. This is the fastest course in the world, roughly, and her timing's a little bit off. That's why the arm goes over her head like that. And then it will turn into a sequence of mistakes. The parts look pretty good, but the timing, again, is off. This is not something you can easily practice. Now, look here, you can see 81 hundredths of a second back. I mean, she is completely out of it. And more importantly, she's lost all of her momentum. But what she has always done better than anyone in the world, she has this almost like a MotoGP kind of angle to her. It's a dicey way to ski. We've seen her crash this way, but it's also how she's able to maintain momentum at very high speed. So that's the vintage Lindsey Vonn. And she's in no position to be pulling time back. But look at this. She wins that split by 5/100ths of a second. So now she's going to do, which historically she has been the best in the world, and that is gliding. Once you get on flatter terrain, there's a looseness in the skis, there's a feel for the snow that's almost innate. And when you are a good glider, then it is money in the bank. But these days, it's the one thing where she used to be the best, now she's one of the worst. Now I want to take you back to the last time she was in Cortina. This is the same turn. The timing is there, right? She's comfortable skiing at 70 miles an hour. Her line is absolutely perfect. Here, no imbalances, right? I mean, this is a snapshot. Of course, there's other elements at play, but she is perfectly composed. The speed here of absolutely no bother whatsoever. So she's up. Now, the same spot as we saw her right after she had made that big jump this year. Well, last time she raced it, she made the big jump. Does she lose time on the bottom? Does she lose a full second? No, look how loose the skis are underfoot because she's such a good glider. There's that feel for the snow. So she goes from 0.6 of a second up to build another 0.3 of a second. That is vintage Lindsey Vonn. So the easy part I would have thought of was the gliding. But now let's look at her in the opening race of the World Championship. Watch this move right here, right through the panel. She's never done that in her entire career. That is an overly aggressive setup because, well, she's been off snow for 6 years. She's trying to work through all these things. You can only do it when you're at the venues. It's going to take some time, and it's a little bit like a combination lock. The skis, the boots, the bindings, all of those, everything needs to line up before you can unlock your potential.
Speaking of the women's Super G, there was a wonderful result for one of the Americans. Lauren Masuga took third. She's having somewhat of an epic season, isn't she? And she's been on kind of a journey from her young days.
When she was younger, right, she wasn't an obvious talent. She's always exceeded expectations. Went to the World Junior Championships, not really expected to medal. Got a medal. Showed up this last season, having had a decent season last year, continued to get better and better until she won. So suddenly she's showing up on the big stage with expectations at these World Championships and comes up with a medal. I mean, that tells me she just has medal, a racehorse.
And we can't forget, she's part of an epic family. They could all be in the Olympics next year. Who knows? There's a way to go. But it's pretty amazing what the Masugas are doing in general, isn't it?
I've never heard of anything like it. You've got Lauren, who's in Saalbach. You've got Allie, who's competing in moguls in Deer Valley. Sam is jumping in Lake Placid, and younger brother Daniel up in Canada. They are all over the globe doing amazing things.
Yeah, younger brother hoping to turn professional and be on the Alpine circuit sometime soon. So we're always keeping a close eye on the Masugas, and Mum, understandably, has a spreadsheet. Before I let you go, we've got to speak about Michaela Schifrin quickly. Obviously, she's come back from an injury. She is at the World Championships. Tech events are coming up next week. What are your expectations?
Well, I think some people saw in the opening, or the race after 60 days off snow after the injury, every time she's come back in the past from an injury, she's won. This time around, it looked like more of a struggle. But I will give this caveat. It was in conditions that are very unusual, not the kind of conditions that she would choose to train in order to prepare. So I think you throw that out. And I think we go back to the Michaela Schifrin, who every time she's come back in the past has wound up, not just on the podium, but in first place. That's kind of the skier I expect to see at the World Champs.
She reminds me of Tiger Woods. Seems a weird comparison. She wouldn't race if she didn't think she could win.
I agree.
And we'll look forward to see what's coming from her in the next few days. We'll look forward to listening to you. Thanks, Pino, for coming into the Stifel Snow Show, and it suits them. Check this out. The World Champs racing suits worn by the US athletes are benefiting the amazing org Protect Our Winters. Also, you can peep these on the Stifel US Cross Country ski team soon. We'll be back in a moment. Grind, glitter, and gratitude for the cross-country OG. Apparently, those combined to make gold. Unsurprisingly, the sun was beaming down in Konya, Italy on the three-time Olympic medalist 10K skate, and she was definitely ready to shine. Jessie Diggins is our Stifel Star of the Week. Impressive this season in spite of a foot injury sustained during the Tour de Ski, the Afton, Minnesota native clearly came to Konya to win. From the start, she controlled the race, her lead growing at every interval, literally taking the course in hardcore stride, which had been difficult up until now, given her healing time frame. While calling it an amazing gift on social and citing her belief in tiny little everyday miracles, unrelenting Diggins would ultimately claim her 26th individual World Cup victory and 21st distance win across 351 World Cup starts. Always one to shake it up with signature appreciation and recognition. Let's hear from the winner.
This was so fun. The crowds were amazing. I'm really, really thankful for all the cheering. This was super, super cool and a beautiful day in a beautiful place. Really, I couldn't ask for more. The skis were perfect, so a huge win for my team. Grazie mille.
Jessie getting ready for the Olympics with some Italian. Well, Sports Illustrated dubbed her as the mindset queen we all need. With the Paralympics approaching its year-away countdown, we sat down with three-time Paralympic gold medalist Brenna Huckabee for some high-tech insight into her customized BioAdapt prosthetic leg. Appropriately, it just also happens to be the color of royalty.
This is my snowboarding leg, and what's really cool about it is it has an ankle joint, which a lot of prosthetics don't have. So this gives me stability in my toe side turn. It flexes and it can hold that edge so that I'm really smooth. This is my knee, and what's different and the reason that we need one like this and not like what I walk on is it completely has a different range of motion. So a walking leg bends like a swing, whereas this is more of an up and down, like a squat. This is where it connects to my socket. I have it extra flexed because I like a really aggressive athletic stance, and this makes it to where I'm not the one using the muscles to be in that position. Granted, my real leg does do a lot, it's just this kind of takes out some of that strain. I guess one thing that I will say with these legs and when it comes to sports is you have to literally figure it out yourself. There's no handbook that's like, okay, you're gonna set this shock pressure to this, the rebound to this, and the black lever to this. I mean, they try, but really it's trial and error for yourself. So when I get a new leg, I have to actually relearn everything. And that in and of itself takes so much time, which stinks when you're in a snow sport and you can only train like when there's snow. But once you get it dialed, it's like having two legs almost. I used to cover my leg with my pants because it gave me this sense of like freedom from being disabled, because when I'm snowboarding, you really can't tell that I have one leg. But over time, I've found this new freedom in showing off my leg for two reasons. One, it's purple and beautiful and it matches my outfit. And two, I love passing people and doing really cool things in this leg and them seeing it, because it really makes people think, oh, disabled athletes are capable of so much more than we thought.
And it will be Brenna Huckabee sending it to the tune of a gold medal.
So I'm so sorry to any girlies who want a purple one because the color's taken. She's beautiful. I love her.
An absolute warrior of a woman. Well, over to Kutai, Austria, and para-snowboard's banked slalom. Saying Austria tested her in more ways than one, Huckabee managed to take third in the LL1, LL2 classification. And on the men's side, 2018 Paralympic champion in banked slalom, Noah Elliott won 2 races in the LL1 classification. Teammate Mike Schultz, whose company BioDAP makes high-performance prosthetics, including Huckabee's, took second in one of those races. Elliott ultimately securing the Crystal Globe. 4, well, technically 2, World Cup podiums this season for Park City's Nick Page. The podium that plays together stays together, having gone 1, 2 and 3 respectively at Val-Saint-Côme, Quebec in a dual moguls. Canada's Michael Kingsbury, France's Ben Carvet, and Page took a rare day off to spend together. Hard for anyone to resist a golf simulator, especially when you're a trio of competitive Olympians. And you can catch more of these golf fans in Deer Valley February 9th at the Intermountain Health Freestyle International on NBC. And we're bringing you all the best World Championships coverage across NBC and Peacock February 8th through the 16th. Alpine stars galore on both the men's and women's side will have you on the edge of your seat. And pin February 22nd on your calendar, when we'll see you back here for another action-packed Stifel Snow Show on CNBC. Plus, you can also find us on Peacock and YouTube. That's it for this week's edition. Always a pleasure to have you join us. I'm Cara Banks, and we'll see you next time.